All right, welcome back. This is hole number 3. It's a par 5. This particular hole, you want to get an eagle on this hole, because if you don't, it's going to be costly with your tournament results, because quite a few people aren't going to get an eagle on this hole. So it takes a little bit of knowing what to do here. You got a fairly good tailwind here going here. So what you want to do is you want to use a club that has the most topspin and it gets you the most distance. Now I find if you got a extra mile 7 or lower, I would use a big topper here with full topspin. And if you got an extra mile 8, I would go with that over the big topper, just because it gives you about 6.7 or 67 topspin, where a big topper will give you 100. But it's got a lot more distance on here than a big topper, and it works out that it'll give you more yardage. So what I'm trying to do with this particular shot is trying to give myself as much yardage as I can. So I'm going to go with a power shot here, and it's called a reverse hook or a reverse slice, depending on what side you go to. So I'm going with full top, one left, or half left, and I'm trying to line it up a little bit more off center to the left. And then I'm going, I believe I went 14 rings on this, I believe. Between 13 and 14 rings over to the right. And then you can see what I'm doing here. I'm hooking it. So this will give you extra yardage as well. If you got an extra mile 7, you could even do this, and you might still be okay, because that'll give you a better yardage than just going full overpower right down the middle. So 446, that leaves us pretty nice. So I will show you the second. Now what a lot of people like doing other than that is they like using a power 4 or a power 5 ball, and just going straight down the middle, full overpower blast with it, with a power 5. You'll get the same results as this, and it'll help you with your second shot as well. So instead of using a big dog, you could use a sniper or something like that. But I like to cheap out on the balls here, so I always go with my power 3 Titan. So what I'm doing here is I'm just trying to play the bounce over top of the sand trap here. Just trying to go at this pin. You don't want to give it too much backspin, because you'll end up in the sand trap. So I believe I went 2 to 2.1, stuff like that, with the backspin. Now this is very, very hard to get an albatross on this hole. But I like to do the jump over shot here. There's also another shot where you can go just full overpower with a big dog and hit the end of the sand trap and have it bounce out. But that shot you have to be right on the money as well. So with this shot we played this at plus 15% elevation. So like I said, it's just a matter of lining it up, knocking it over, going, getting the right amount of backspin, and make sure you got the right elevation for your adjustment here. So normally I'd probably play this 10% elevation, but I knew the tailwind is going to help us carry the ball a little bit further, so I went 15% elevation. So I will see if I got another recording here in my history, because with a lower extra mile or a lower big dog in that, you might have to overpower the shot. So I'll see if I got an overpower shot here for you for the second shot. All right, we're back. This is a different account here of the same hole, and I want to show you what you have to do if you don't have the extra mile 8, or if you're using a big topper or something. Basically the same principle. But I find if I shoot down the right hand side, it's got a right to left roll, and the ball roll a little bit further. So that's a trick with this hole as well. Play down the right hand side, it's got a hill there, and the momentum of the ball will carry it down the hill and it'll move a little bit further. So 415 yards. So you can see it's quite a bit less than the other one there, where it was 440. That's because we're not using a power hook here or a power slice or anything with driving it straight down the middle. But one thing about this shot is if you hit it 415 yards consistently, you'll know how to play your second shot as well. And I will show you that in a second. So you mark down on your piece of paper what this drive is. Like I got it marked down here 415, 416, 417, and I even hit 419. So in around that range, you'll know how to play the second shot, and I'll explain that to you right now. So this is the second shot. Once again, we're playing this at 15% elevation, and what we're trying to do is figure out what it's going to take to make our bounce over top of that sand trap here. Now, like I explained earlier, you can go full topspin and try to hit that end of that sand trap and have a sand bump is what you call it. But you have to be within the last foot or so of that sand trap. That's a little bit risky shot, I find, because if you're a little bit less, it's going to stay inside that sand trap. Although it ain't too hard of a shot from that sand trap, but I like to go the bounce over shot here. So what I'm doing is I'm moving the target forward so that it's in full overpower. And then I'm going to find out what's going to happen when my target is in full overpower. Am I going to still make that sand trap once I put 2 backspin on it? So I find out, I push it into full overpower and it looks like it's going to clear. Now if I put 2 backspin on it, right, I always want to go 2 backspin. I find 2.5 might not, might fall short inside that sand trap. And if I go 1 backspin, it might go too far and roll into that rough behind the green. So we don't want that. So anywhere between 2 and 2.5 backspin I find works good here with this particular shot. So for 415 yards, I would go between 2 and 2.5 backspin. And I would go full overpower. Now, if you find you're a little bit less than 415 on the drive, you can see how the sand trap curves in on the corners. So what I would do is play the left-hand side. See, there's a lot more fairway on the left-hand side of that sand trap. So if you hit it 407 or 406 or something like that, just play for a shot on the left-hand side and play for the uphill part of that green, and it'll roll back down. So still play 2 backspin, play for the left-hand side of the sand trap, play for the green so that it'll roll and hit the green and roll back down. That's another good shot to, approach to it. And then you'll have a putt towards the hole. Sometimes it might be a long putt, but if it rolls down that green, it'll roll quite a bit down sometimes. So that's another good way to play it. But it's a nice safe eagle. It's really, really hard. The reason I like going straight at it is maybe I'll fluke off an albatross. But if you go left-hand side, the chances of getting the albatross are pretty slim, but it's a safe eagle. So there it is, hole number 3. I hope you understand it. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you on the next one.